Hey everybody, welcome to episode 31 of Big Time Reality TV. Back again. My name is Andy Kirk. You guys can find me on Twitter. That's at CCGradAKirk. And the blog is BigTimeRealityTV.blogspot.com. Got Whitney back with me. We're going to be talking Survivor today. How are we doing, Whit?
Yay! I'm so excited. I am so excited to talk about this show. I've been waiting for it since I saw the cast reveal on the last Survivor. So I'm just stoked.
Yeah. Ever since this Worlds Apart reunion, where Jeff Probst was being like, "You get a second chance."
Oh, that was.
I've been excited for it. I mean, Big Brother 17 was such a good season, but I was like, you know what? I kind of want it to end so the season can start.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh. So let me just break down the tribes, and if you guys want to ask us questions, just tweet me or Whitney. Whitney is at JANELMCG. So what I want to do is I just want to make. I did this on our discussion for when we did our fantasy draft, but I want to name the tribes again. So do you want me to name Bayon or Takeo first?
Let's go with Takeo. Say the best for last.
I'm gonna go from the bottom up. Kelly Wigglesworth from the very first season of Survivor. She lost by 1 vote to Richard Hatch in the very first season, very iconic season. I'm sure you've seen videos of the final tribal council where Sue says, some English woman was like, "Oh, if you're dying of thirst, I would not give you a drink of water," or something like that.
No, I did not. Which one? This is the first Survivor?
Yeah, you should
and
YouTube
that. I saw that one too.
I'm sure it's on YouTube.
I saw that one. I remember I was like really a fan of Jarvis on that season.
Yeah. I mean, I just recently watched the season, like maybe about a month ago. Not watch the season, but I've seen that clip so many times of Kelly and Richard at final tribal council, and this English woman Sue Hawk is like, "Oh, if you are dying of thirst in the desert, I will not give you a drink of water. I'll let the vultures eat you," or something like that. It's crazy. And then Kelly Wentworth, San Juan del Sur, had a very short run, but I have a feeling, and we'll definitely talk about her a lot this premiere episode, I have a feeling she's going to have a better second time around. I do too.
I was a fan of her
Jeff Varner.
First one too, so that's good.
Yeah. Jeff Varner, Australian Outback, going to be great TV. We'll definitely talk about him. Worlds Apart. PG Law from China. Wu from Cagayan. Admin Maria. We got a lot to talk about from Admin Maria, that's for sure. From Philippines. Terry Dietz from Panama. Mr. Bledsoe and Vitas. So what do you think? What did you think of Takeo as a tribe?
Very. Just looking at them, I mean, there were some names, some people that I did not know because, admittedly, I haven't seen every single season. So there are some people I didn't know, but just the people that I did know, it definitely looked like it was going to be like a mixture of just like oddballs, people who just don't really mesh well are all put on this tribe, it feels like. So
yeah, honestly, Whit, and I don't know if I said this when we did our fantasy draft, I thought this tribe was the better tribe. I was shocked to see them be the first tribe.
Like better in physically the challenges?
I mean, based on numbers of how they did in past seasons. I mean, Wigglesworth was runner up in the first season. You go up the list. PG Law took 5th in China. Wu was runner up in Cagayan. He should have won that season had he not taken Tony. Abby Maria she made it far on Philippines, right?
She made it pretty far, like 4th or 5th or something like that.
Was it luck? Was it mainly luck though?
It wasn't. Well, yeah, it was people wanting to take her because she was so horrible.
She was a go.
Yeah.
And then going up the list, obviously Terry Dietz had a great run on Panama. I haven't watched Panama yet, but I know he had like 5 immunity wins in Panama. And obviously Spencer's a likable guy. He did very well on his first season.
He called himself.
So I thought
he referred to himself as cocky. Was he really cocky? I didn't finish that season. Was he really like an arrogant little player on that season?
I just recently watched it. I'm trying to think. Not really. I mean, there were a lot more cocky people than him. I mean, Cass, who's on the other tribe, he was really arrogant. Tony was arrogant, but he backed it up. So, I mean, yeah, he had some moments where he was very cocky, but I didn't see. So, yeah, moving on to the Bayonne tribe, you got Joe, Worlds Apart, Jeremy Collins, Sierra Houston, Stephen Fishback, Tasha Foxy, Kimmy Kappenberg, Keith Nail, Monica Padilla, and Andrew Savage. Now that I think of it, Bayonne has a really good tribe. I mean, we saw in the very beginning, there's the power alliance of Joe, Jeremy, Andrew, Tasha, and am I missing anybody?
Was Keith included in that alliance, or was that just kind of like a side alliance with Jeremy?
That might have been a side alliance with Jeremy.
Side alliance, so it's
that's a good 5 right there. I mean, Tasha to be the only girl to be in that alliance makes me very happy to know that she's going to be protected up until at least the merge.
Oh yeah, she could be Jeremy's Natalie this season. But I think it's like, what was it? Yeah, I think you got everybody: Jeremy, Joe, Tasha, and what's his name?
And I can see them pulling in Sierra.
If they need so?
The vote. Yeah.
Yeah, if they need the votes, yeah.
She's, I mean, I didn't watch Blood versus Water, but from what I know of her, other than the fact that she voted out her mom, isn't she a good ally to have?
Yeah, she is. And I remember everyone raving about her, that season and like her and Hayden. I remember everyone's like, oh my gosh, these are, they're better than their counterparts and whatnot. But I mean, I wasn't all that impressed. I think people were just really hype about that season. I wasn't that impressed, but I am interested in seeing how she does this time around, her second chance without her mom. She's experienced that. What did she learn anything? Is she gonna play the same way? Because she made it, decent. She went the, kind of a good distance. So it'll be interesting. I'm interested in seeing her play.
Yeah, definitely. And other interesting ones on that tribe. I mean, obviously got Joe from last season. He was terrific in the pre-merge. I mean, dude was unbelievable. Almost went out before the merge, but Mike and company switched it and got them to blindside Joaquin. And I like his chances this season. I mean, he had such a good first episode.
Well, I like his chances too, but I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. But I'm just saying, like, there has been talk of like them switching things up early on. So if there is like an early swap, like tribe swap or of some sort, then he could be in danger because people may see him as a threat, and he may not have that safety net of Jeremy and Savage there. So I like his chances early on, but I don't know if he has that. Like that manipulation or that like strategy down pat like Jeremy has it to survive something as like an early swap.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know if he's going to win necessarily, but I can see him going further than last time.
If they just stay like on these two tribes, he's good. I feel like he's good to go.
Which honestly. And I see why the past couple seasons. I mean, Worlds Apart, you obviously have to do a 3-tribe format. You obviously have to do a tribe swap, and I guess they do it in the Blood versus Water seasons too. But honestly, this season I don't see the need for one.
No, me neither. I'm loving the vibes on both tribes. Like everything's going good right now with both tribes, but you know,
So the first challenge, it basically was old school Survivor, where you can take as much supplies as you need onto your raft and back to your camp. Like there were chickens on there. There were like some type of melons.
I always feel bad for the chickens, even though I'm no vegetarian. You know, I'm not like that. But every time I see chickens on this show, I just feel so bad for them. It's like, oh, just let the chicken go. Let them go. But yeah, they had chickens. They had all types of supplies.
They all had to swim out.
Yeah.
They all had a raft or swim to 100 yards over where there was a big bag of rice. And this was intense. I mean, you saw Kelly Wigglesworth, Joe comes and tries to catch her, and then Sonic the Hedgehog, aka Woo, comes out and swims all the way over to the rice.
I think Kelly jumped out too. She started swimming too soon, so she got winded by the end. She should have waited a little bit, and then I mean, I guess it didn't matter because Woo was right behind her. But
had it been Kelly in Borneo, I would have said okay, because she was 23 when that happened.
Yeah,
her original season, now she's like 37. Had it been Kelly from Borneo, I'd have been okay. She can get out whenever she wants because, I mean, she's young. She has stamina. But she's like 37, 38 now. I mean, probably not what it used to be. I mean, I'm sure she's probably going to be there for a while. But at least we got it for them. So we won the race. And I was kind of surprised that Jeff did the intro after he talked to the cast. You know, the 39 days, 20 people, one survivor.
Why?
Because normally he does it right before he talks to the cast. At least he's done. That's what he's done the past couple seasons.
Well, do they usually do the intro like that with like the actual intro where they're introducing like the players' names and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
They usually do that. Oh, okay.
It's interesting though, and then I think that for the first time in a few seasons, they actually had a named intro where you see the players with their names right next to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
They haven't done that at least since Cagayan. I don't know. Did they do it in Blood vs. Water?
I can't remember.
I know they did it. I know because I recently, well, not recently, a few months ago, watched Caramone, and I know they did it in the season Cochrane one.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if they did it in Blood vs. Water. I know in Worlds Apart they didn't show the cast members' names. They just showed white collar, no collar, blue collar. But it's cool to see that again. I mean, that's classic Survivor.
I loved it. I loved the intro. I loved everything about this episode, actually.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they go to their respective camps. Do you want to start talking about Takeo or Bayon first?
We can start about Bayon first. I feel like they had more. It seemed like they had more going on as far as like strategy and stuff. The Takeo were very much like just all over the place. So we just go with Bayon right now, and
let's talk about Steven real quick.
Steven, yeah, we need to talk about.
I'm a huge fan of Steven Fishback. He's been with Rob Cisternino on Rob Has a Podcast for this show called Survivor Know It All. He's he knows what he's doing, but it seems like as of late. I mean, not as late, but this episode wasn't his episode. I mean, like he said in one of his confessionals, he's a fish back out of water.
It was so funny though. It was kind of funny to watch it. I felt bad for him, but at the same time, because I don't think I saw his season, so I really didn't know what to expect from him.
Duncan G was a good season.
He was just kind of there for me when I saw the cast. He was just one of those people who were just kind of there. So I'm really interested in seeing his story play out because it's really interesting. And from what I've heard, listening to other shows and interviews, that Savage actually has like some issues with Steven. So maybe that can be like where they're going with it. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. And it kind of confuses me too, because if you look at this tribe, there's two people you can get, potentially three people you can get rid of first before I think Steven should be on anybody's radar. That's Kimmy Kappenberg. That's Cass. And then as much as I like Keith, I feel like he'd be disposable over Steven.
But don't you want to bring someone like that along? So
maybe.
I don't know. It's like he seems like someone would be like perfect final two for like Keith.
Do you agree with me on Kimmy and Cass though? I mean, it seems like had Bayern lost his first challenge,
Cass
Steven
probably
would have been the first one.
You think so? I think it would have been Cass. I thought it would have been
Cass.
So.
Think Steven? Because Andrew Savage seems to be the self announced leader, which we see on every season. He's getting bad vibes from Fishback. I don't know why. And if he tells people like Jeremy, Joe, Tasha, and Keith, oh, I want Fishback out, they're going to vote him out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm hoping it changes next week. But honestly, I feel like had Bayern lost, Steven would have been gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it'll change next week. I'm hoping it will.
I just love the editing and watching him try like to break that branch. I'm like, what are you doing? It was just so pitiful. And it was like
Steven, it was right after.
No. Steven was having problems with it. And it was like right after you see Savage like chop down a freaking tree. And then he hands over to Steven. Oh,
that was badass.
That was such unpleasant editing for Steven.
And then a funny moment in the episode was when Andrew was talking to Joe, and he was like, "Oh, one night I was watching your season, and I was watching your season next to my 17-year-old and 15-year-old, and my 17-year-old didn't realize she's saying this out loud. He's perfect." And then the 15-year-old like, "No,
he is perfect with his perfectly flowy hair."
Are you a fan of the man? I know a lot of people that watch Survivor are a fan of the man bun. Are you a fan of the man bun?
No, I'm not.
No, you don't really care for it?
I'm not.
It worked.
Let it out. I'm a fan of the flowy hair. Let it go. So let's get into like the alliances, and like there's a lot more going on this.
What Jeremy? I can't. Jeremy did. Let's talk about Jeremy for a minute.
Okay.
He did the exact same thing he did just a year ago.
He did.
I mean, rounding the troops up. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk to Keith. I'm gonna talk to Joe. I'm gonna talk to Savage. I'm gonna talk to Tasha."
Yeah.
Is that good strategy in your opinion, or?
I think so, because I don't think there was anything
later on.
I don't think there was anything wrong with his strategy, so to speak. Last time around, I think that he just wasn't as he just didn't talk to those type of people. He wasn't able to adapt to those type of people he was with. Remember, he was with like John and Drew and Drew's idiot brother, whoever. Like he was with the people who are very much like he had to dumb down on their level, and he didn't do that. He just got frustrated with them. So he wasn't able to like relate to them on that level. So I think that's the only thing that he needed to change this time around, was just be able to know that not everyone's going to be at this level with you, and you may have to, lower yourself or, raise your standards or however, just adapt to who you're with. And I feel like that's already what he's doing by, he by rounding up Keith as well as, Andrew, Joe, and Tasha. And he kind of has his bases covered with that. And I'm pretty sure he gets along with the rest of the cast as well.
Pre-Marriage good. I mean, you picking him first was definitely a good pick.
I knew I was going to get him first. I had to.
You know for a fact that nobody's going to target Jeremy early, especially because he's not on the same tribe as Jeff Varner. which we'll talk about in a minute. Because Jeff Varner said in the next week's preview, and had Jeremy been on Varner's tribe, I think Jeremy would have been in trouble. I think Jeremy's going to last. I mean, he's obviously going to the merge, and thankfully he's not on the same tribe as Jeff Varner, because Jeff Varner's trying to get out all the threats.
Really? Did he say that? I didn't get that vibe from him.
On the next time on Survivor, he goes up to Terry Dietz and says, "Let's get all the threats out."
Well, we'll get to that tribe in a minute, I guess. If we're done, I mean, that's pretty much what happened on that.
Yeah, let's get to Takeo.
Okay.
Bracelet Gate. How what were your thoughts on Abby her first time around? Because I haven't watched Philippines yet, but just give me like a brief synopsis of how you felt about Abby on Survivor Philippines, which was 3 years ago now.
It was difficult to watch her. Like, she reminded me of you. Did you watch Colton's season?
I've seen clips of Colton quitting Blood vs. Water though. So
okay, so you didn't watch his original season?
No.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
all right. So Abby was just like, she was just like like she was I don't want to say she would like bully people, but she would just always just like have something to say about everybody. Very negative, very just loud and in your face. And it was frustrating.
She didn't like her returning cast member, right?
I can't remember specifically.
Was she on Scoopin's tribe or Penner's tribe?
She was on Scoopin's tribe. No. She was on Penner's tribe.
Because I know she was on Russell Swan's.
No, she was on his tribe. Because I started, because I remember when they swapped or merged or whatever they did. But she was just grating, and it was difficult for me to watch the show because everyone just wanted to take her to the end. So she was around and she was still like just badgering people, and it was so frustrating to watch. No one would really stand up to her. They would just kind of let her be. So I really didn't like her. I wasn't a fan of her. I'm hoping like this time around so far, even though with the bracelet gate and preview for next week's episode, it doesn't seem like she's as bad. But I picked her on my team, so I guess I got to root for her in some way, right?
Yeah, I mean that's not really that bad of a pick. I mean it's just that.
No, not at all.
As we all know, Brazilians have a temper on them. I mean we've seen Camila challenge after challenge after challenge go off on somebody. So yeah. I mean.
Then you have some Brazilians in Big Brother.
She did keep her composure for the most part. She didn't like blow up, like from what I heard that she's done in the past. Like I heard she didn't like this girl RC. I guess her and RC went to blows a lot on Philippines.
Yeah.
And then there was a clip of her throwing a coconut at Scoopin's head.
She didn't blow up, but she still made it a bigger issue than what it needed to be. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, she did it. She's a little better, but not really where she needs to be to completely focus on this game. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a bracelet. Either it's super valuable that you should not have brought it in the first place, or it's a little cheap thing that you can go pick up, later on, and it's no big issue.
What I've heard from podcasts.
What do you say?
Here's the whole thing behind Bracelet Gate. From what I heard from podcasts, and I watched an interview that Entertainment Weekly did with Vetus. I guess all the castaways got name tags to put on their bags, and what PG did was just take a bag with no name or something. So I mean, she didn't do it on purpose. I don't think she doesn't seem like somebody who'd do that on purpose.
She didn't do it on purpose, but I do feel like maybe she was, I don't know if she was, I don't want to say intimidated, but maybe there was just a lot going on with Abby yelling or or just kind of making an issue, fussing about it, and everyone kind of looking or helping her look for it. Maybe PG felt like, because I felt like she could have, if she knew this was going on, she could have at least like checked her bag, double checked her bag. Like, okay, well, I picked up this bag and maybe there's something in it. That would have been my first thought. You know, like if I had picked up a random bag, I know everyone has a name tag. This bag didn't have a name tag. So I picked it up and threw it in my bag. Let me double check and make sure there wasn't anything in it, you know? So maybe she did think that, but just didn't want to say anything because it was already like an issue.
Yeah, I watched China, I want to say June. And PG seems like the one that handles confrontation well. And that's what she did. She handled Abby pretty well.
Yeah.
Because I know did you watch China?
I believe I did. Was that the one where it was like women's versus men?
No.
No.
The people from China were James, who's been on a few, Amanda, who's been on a few. Those were their first season.
Okay.
James was the grave digger.
I gotta rewatch that. I thought I did watch that season.
I mean, she PG seemed to handle herself very well, and I don't know if I can see her going far this time, but let's move on to there's a couple more people that I want to touch on. Terry and Spencer had a nice conversation talking about the survivors' kids telling, "Oh, you got to trust this person." Terry's son was like, "Oh, you should align with Spencer. He's very trustworthy." I mean, that's cool that the kids are telling that Terry's son was like, "Oh, you should do this. You should do that." I mean, yeah. Terry was on Survivor Panama, which aired 9 years ago, maybe.
I wonder if, you know, does it ever cross your mind that like Terry or Andrew is slightly lying on their kids to butter up to the newbies?
I don't.
You don't think so?
Terry might, but I'm hoping Andrew wasn't, because that's a hilarious story.
I'm thinking maybe they're twisting their kids' words a little bit to kind of butter up. He's perfect. That could have been that one could have been very much true. That I can see that being true.
I mean, he said before I was like, "Oh, my kids are probably going to be mad at me when I tell you this."
Yeah.
So, other ones. I mean, obviously, what was your take on Vetus his first time around?
It was a different take on him. He seemed very much overly like he was. It's like he amped it up a notch. I mean, he didn't change much, but it's like he just started too hard, too fast, and I feel like he saw himself as like the manipulator and controller of women on the first time around, and he got a lot of props for that. Like, oh, Vetus has these women, you know, wrapped around his finger and whatnot. So then he come into this one.
Wasn't he on a tribe swap with Jet with him as the only guy and like a bunch of women?
Yeah. And it looked like he might have gone home, but then he didn't. He made it work. So I think that he went to this one thinking, okay, I'm gonna do the same thing, but just was too pushy with it. And these girls aren't falling for it this time.
Yeah, Shireen called him, and I didn't understand it the first time, but Shireen called him smarmy.
Swarmy. Yeah, he is.
Swarmy. Yeah.
He looked like that.
Yeah. Shireen was. What's that?
I was gonna say, do you think that it's gonna help Shireen and Joe that they went straight from one season to this season? Do you think it's gonna like help them that they haven't really gotten accustomed to the real world? They're still in survivor mode, or do you think that maybe they're gonna have a target?
I mean, both of them have played back-to-back seasons, which we haven't. The last time we saw somebody play back-to-back seasons was Wrestle Hands, and obviously neither of them are Wrestle Hands, but
they didn't even get a chance to go home.
To the beach like a week later, and Shireen, in my opinion, and let me know if you agree or disagree on this, she's playing too hard. She's playing too hard, too fast.
It's hard to tell. We didn't really
Does
see.
she have to though?
I think you know what? Yeah, I can see that. I think that if she was on the other tribe, maybe I would say that. But because she's on the tribe where I feel like from what we saw, not many people are all that like aware. Maybe like you have like Abby who's freaking out over a bracelet. Then you have Kelly. Like it doesn't seem that there's much structure on the other side. Like there's not really a set alliance. Everyone's just kind of flailing. And so Shireen is that one person who's can go up to a couple people and say like, okay, this is what we need to do. I can actually see her being kind of like put in a leadership position on this tribe.
If you would have told me that preseason, I would have said you're crazy.
But look at Jeff's reaction to her though. He was like, "Oh, these new kids, you know, she's coming at me a mile a minute," and he's like, "I just want to hop on that train and go." So he's taken by her. You know, it worked for him, so it could help her. She could really like make moves on this time. She found her peoples. I guess I'll say she found her peoples. Last season, she was a little oddball, but now she found her group that she can work with.
She doesn't have somebody like Max Dawson to hinder her.
To hinder her. Oh, yeah.
Serene and Max were like a pair at that try swap last season.
They hindered each other. Yeah. If Shireen had gone where Max did, Max could have made it further, I think. Max could have made it pretty far. So I think that they both kind of hurt each other that one.
What are your thoughts on Jeff Varner?
I'm loving him. I'm so glad I picked him for my team. I wasn't sure about him. He's one of those people I didn't know. So I'm pleasantly surprised by what we have right now. And so I'm loving everything that we're getting from Jeff. His sound bites, his interviews, his wacky strategies. Like, I'm all for it.
I've told you from time to time that you got the best team, fantasy draft-wise. There's a couple of them, and we've already talked about one, Abby Maria. And then there's another one that I'm kind of worried about for you that might not make the merge, and that's Jeff Varner. I feel like the dude is so freaking charismatic. I love him on my TV screen. Yeah. He's great. But the thing is, he needs to slow down. He needs to just follow the lead of Shireen, follow the lead of PG, who I think that's a strong ally of his, and just let them do it. If he plays too hard, like I think he's going to this next episode, Abby might not go home again if Takeo loses.
He could float.
It might be Jeff.
He could float in that middle spot, really. If he stays, I mean, if he's cool with Spencer and Shireen, and he's also cool with like Terry and PG, and he doesn't cause any problems with anyone else, I mean, he could just really like just lay low. He's probably not seen as a physical threat. You know, he's likable. So I think
if a lot of Max in a way that I feel like people are going to get annoyed by him. So they're going to be like, oh, let's just blindside him. Let's just get him out of there. Get him away from our camp.
Well, there's a lot of people in that tribe who will probably, people can get annoyed with Abby as well. People can get annoyed with Shireen. So I think that there's a lot of people in that tribe who can have that take on people. So.
Lastly, before we get to the immunity challenge, let's talk about Miss Wentworth, Kelly Wentworth. Goes searching for the idol. She tries to play it very cool, which I think it worked. And she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna act like I'm looking for coconuts, looking for this, looking for that." And then she finds the clue. And I want to get your thoughts on this whole twist.
She thought she found the idol, though. She was so excited. I was
like, "Oh my god!"
I love that. What do you think about that though? Finding having them stash the clues around camp, but not the actual idol, and the idol being in the challenge. Do you like that?
It changes their gameplay. I mean, had this happen on Tony's season on Cagayan, I still think Tony would have went for it, but I feel like he would have been a lot more quiet about it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm loving this. I'm loving everything about this twist. So as soon as I heard about it before the season started. So I'm like, oh my God, that is perfect. That is so perfect.
the past 2 seasons, what I've liked about the past 2 seasons, with the first seasons I've watched live, all idol plays have been successful. Like, oh, I play the idol for myself, I play the idol for somebody else, and it's worked. So I'm hoping this season that we get hopefully we get an idol play sometime in the pre-merge, at least once or twice in the pre-merge, and then we get a couple more in the merge. So
yeah. Do you think that, you know, now that Kelly has the idol for her tribe, now will there also be another clue on the Bion tribe, or is that the only idol? Do they usually have just one?
They normally have two.
They normally have two. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to see another. I want to see another one.
Yeah. So I want to go back to Bion real quick with hashtag Joga.
Joga.
Freaking Tasha. She was like, all I could think about was Joe's body.
Oh my gosh. Everyone's just loving
Joe. I love her. I freaking love her. She's great. Her sound bites are amazing.
You got her on your team, right?
Yeah, if I took her third. And then another funny quote was from a good old Keith. Love Keith.
Oh, Keith is the best.
He's like, oh, I don't do yoga. I wake up and drink coffee like 98% of other Americans do.
Yeah, he's like, I don't think anyone wants to see me out there contorting my body all the time. He's like, oh, Keith, I do want to see you do some yoga.
I hope I'm wrong about Keith. I hope he's not an early boot because I love his one-liners.
I can see him getting out early.
Yeah,
on this tribe, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong though. So yeah, we talked about Joga. Talked about Fishback. We talked about the Alliance. Yeah, let's just get to the challenge. Quest for Fire. Happened to the very first Survivor.
I remember that.
Kelly Wigglesworth's tribe lost to Pagan. And what it is, if you guys don't know, well, you guys probably do know because you watched it, but they go out, light a flame, and then they keep going back till they get to a fence, and then they have to make a pole to latch a key, and then they open it up, and then they light the last fire. So it seemed like it was going neck throughout, and I was kind of surprised early on. Tasha was the last one to arrive for Bayon in the swim. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I luckily for Tasha that Keith messed up to after her, so she didn't stand out too much.
Yeah, but
she was considered like a stronger player on her original season, wasn't she?
Is she not good in the water? I mean, I know the whole saying about swimming. You know, when it comes to you guys, I don't want to sound all bad, but what? Is she good in the water?
I have no idea. You have a better memory at these shows than I do.
I don't remember.
Okay, but maybe not. No, that's all right.
The torchlighters were Keith, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought it'd be somebody like Savage. I thought Savage would have done it. And then Spencer. And Spencer was killing it for Takeo in the beginning. They had an early lead. And then Keith, I couldn't help but laugh when he dropped in the water.
I felt bad. Like, oh, Keith. Come on, man.
Poor Keith.
Poor Keith. But yeah, I'm surprised they had him do it. They should have like the tallest guy do it. The tallest.
Who would have that been? Savage? Joe?
It's probably Steven. I don't know. It's probably Savage, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they get up to the land, and it's Wigglesworth for Takeo that was doing it. And then
they had to like create like a long little stick. Like they had a bunch of little sticks and had to create this contraption, or I don't say contraption, make it sound more difficult than it was, but just like a bigger like stick to reach for the keys, pull the keys off, which is very classic Survivor. I remember this challenge perfectly, actually. I really remember this one.
Don't they do that in like challenges? Like not necessarily with the whole fire thing, but like you have to make a pull to get a key.
You have to make something to reach out, get a key, and to get something and bring it back or whatever to unlock your jail or something like that. Yeah. So I figured that they would do this one a lot easier because it's such a familiar challenge, part of a challenge. So
yeah.
But who did it for Bayonne? Joe? Was that Joe that did?
It was Joe. I'll be right back with it.
Okay.
What's up?
So so Kelly Wigglesworth was reaching for TKO and Joe for Bayonne, and Kelly was having some problems. I feel bad. She was having some problems. So Spencer jumped in for her to help her. Was it Spencer? I believe Spencer. I believe it was Spencer who jumped up for Kelly. Anyway, Joe finally got his key off the little thing. Jeremy rushed up to unlock it, and Bayonne went up and won the whole thing. But the most interesting part about this, I don't know what's going on with Andrew right now. He's being difficult. The most interesting part about this was Kelly's task of actually getting her the immunity, the hidden immunity item, which is hidden at like under the, I don't know what's it called, but it was hidden under something that they passed by, where they passed by on their way to the stick things. You're back?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
I'm talking about the hidden immunity idol.
Talking about Kelly finding the idol?
Yeah.
I know. The camera was playing it perfectly too. I loved it. They were like pointing to Kelly. I was looking back.
Yeah. I was like, just go for it. I kept tweeting at her. I was like, go for it. Just make a run for it. No one's looking. Everyone's so focused on everything else. So you can run for it. She retweeted me. And it was like, and so I took that as a good sign. I was like, yeah.
I love her. I love her on social media.
She was awesome. She was so good. I was rooting for her so bad. She played it perfectly. No one even suspected of anything. So I was happy for her. And I can't wait to see who gets it next and how they're going to play it, and if they're going to be bold enough to go for it, or if they're going to try and go for it and, give it away.
Prediction. Who do you think? Do you think she shares that she has the idol to somebody?
No, I don't think so.
Not right away.
No, I didn't get the sense that she was getting closer with anybody. So
yeah, eventually she will.
You know who I hope finds it on the Bayonne tribe? I hope Steven finds the clue.
Steven needs
it. He needs it, but I think it would be really interesting to watch him try and go for it on the in the challenge and see how that happens. So I'm kind of hoping he kind of finds the clue next.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they have to after the. What do you think about that?
What'd you say? You broke up a little.
They had to go directly to tribal after the challenge. They had no time to go back to camp.
I love that. That is like straight up MTV challenge territory right there. They love doing that. Like, okay, you won. Now you have to pick immediately who you vote for. They do that often on this show.
Challenge with the X's.
So, what'd you say?
On this past challenge about the X's too, when Sarah and Jordan won the final one, they're like, okay, you got to put somebody in. We'll make a decision now.
Love that they did that. I saw that some people don't like that because you miss out on the strategy of everything going on, the scrambling, which is a big part of Survivor. That's some of the best moments. But as someone who's a challenge fan, I was like, oh, this is really intense now, because now I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be a surprise. They don't know what to do. No one has a chance to last minute save themselves. I mean, they kind of do at the tribal council. I feel like people, try to save themselves there, but it's a lot more unpredictable, which I loved it.
Yeah, so they go to tribal council, and I gotta say real quick, whenever Jeff asks Wu a question, honestly, I can't take Wu seriously.
I can't hear.
He's like, bro. He's like, bro. It's like the last person you want to ask a question to. I mean, I like Wu. I really do. But the last person you want to ask a question to at tribal council, the very first one is Wu, because he won't give you a good answer. He'll like come up with a whole bunch of gibberish.
Which is why you want to ask him. Honestly, it's like.
You think so?
It's great. I think that I like Wu. I didn't really follow last season. His season, because I just got so frustrated with who's the early boots. So I stopped watching. What'd you say?
You like David and Garrett from Cagayan?
David and Garrett. I can't remember the names.
They were on the Brains Tribe. They got booted the first episode.
No, I did not. But I did like, what's his name? The big guy, I think it was like a former basketball player. And the girl who he was like best friends with who quit or something like that. Like, yeah. I like those people.
That's where you stopped watching?
Yeah, that's how I stopped. I was like, okay, I can't take this now.
I stopped. I mean, I watched it just recently, but I stopped watching. Cagayan was technically my first season watching, but I watched San Juan from start to finish. That was my first season watching, but I stopped watching Cagayan. I want to say a few episodes in.
Yeah.
Like I want to say the tribe swap.
Yeah, it wasn't all that to me anyway. But Wu, I'm really digging Wu. So I'm hoping he makes it pretty far. I'm liking his vibe.
I don't think he's making the end this time.
He's not making it to the end. No. But I'm hoping he makes it, at least emerge.
Jeff Probst is gonna do something that he didn't get to do last time. That's Nephis Torch.
Do you like Jeff's questioning at Tribal?
I do.
You do?
We talked about this on our Are You the One chat. The questions that Jeff and Ryan Devlin, the host of Are You the One, asked are very, very leading. I mean, most of the time you get good answers out of people.
Right, and most of the times, or some of the times, you get people digging themselves in holes that they weren't in before, and I feel so bad. It's like, just stop talking. You don't have to answer like with full-on explanations. You can just give him a little something. If you give him just a little bit, he'll stop talking to you. But I've noticed that the more you talk, the more he's gonna pinpoint you on his questioning. Which will
remember last season when Shireen was like, "Why are you looking at me like that?"
Yeah, yes.
I don't remember what tribal was that, but she was very, very, very awkward last season with tribal council.
Yeah, and I remember he kept, because he's like a shark in the sea. It's like once he get a taste of your blood, your nervous blood, then he'll just keep on. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. So who did you think that like made themselves look bad in tribal? Do you think that Abby stuck up for herself in a good way? Because I actually thought that she.
I mean, she tried her best, but I felt like I mean, she obviously got votes on her, so I mean, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So I give her an A for trying.
Now, why do you think that the people who flipped on Vetus? Why do you think that? I think it was what Jeff was kind of with Vetus.
Jeff was on the fence, and so was PG.
And PG, yeah, and they both voted Abby. Do you think that they just made those decisions in tribal?
Before I think so. Actually no, it was right. It was probably like before that, but. Do you remember the last quote Jeff Varner said before Jeff Probst said it's time to vote? Because I remember it was a very leading quote. It was a very interesting quote. I just don't remember what the words were exactly.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Like he talked out of turn. It wasn't even like a question or he was like, Jeff, I think blah blah blah. I don't remember the exact wording of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And what I heard before the vote happened, Jeff went to PG and I don't remember. I don't remember who the other one was. He was like, "Oh, we're still voting for the same person we're voting for," and they were like, "Yes."
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
that
I'll read the votes. I'll read who voted for who. Abby voted for Vetus, obviously.
yeah.
Jeff voted for Vetus. Uh, Kelly Wentworth voted for Vetus. Kelly Wigglesworth voted for Abby. PG, Shereen, and Spencer voted for Vetus. And then Carrie, Wu, and Vetus voted for Abby. So 6-4 vote. Were you surprised Vetus was first boot?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wasn't surprised with the edit that he got. I mean, he got a very negative edit. Like no one liked him on the tribe. You know, he was like the girls felt creeped out by him. He wasn't really it looked like he was kind of gelling with more of the older guys, but it like Shireen quickly pointed that out and it was like, you know what, Terry was close
Worried
with
about
ours.
Yeah.
And you know, she pointed that out. So I'm like, okay, it's not looking good for Vetus right now. But before the show even started, like in our pre-shows, I would have never. I'm surprised, but after seeing the edit, yeah, it made sense.
Yeah, I would have said first or second jury member.
Yeah,
I think he would have been early jury, but for him to go first was kind of crazy. And hopefully we get explanation of why Varner flipped and why PG flipped because PG had every reason to vote for Abby. I mean, they had a confrontation on the beach, and it doesn't make sense for me why she voted for Vetus.
Well, do you think that it was a matter of who they don't like or who's the bigger threat? Like Vetus is someone who would be hard to get rid of later on in the game. If you let him stay a while, getting mixed with tribe swaps and merging, like he could get on a roll. Whereas someone like Abby, she would always be like up for grabs, I feel like.
I mean, I don't fault them for voting out Vetus. I mean, I feel like it wasn't a terrible move.
Yeah.
Because Vetus has Terry Dietz, I think.
And he could get other people.
Terry voted for Abby, and then on the other tribe he had Sierra, who was a very strong female.
Yeah, and I think he could get Cass, who probably feels like an outsider. He could get Steven, who probably definitely feels like an outsider if he got into got on a tribe with them. So he's someone that I feel like if you already have a stab at him, just go for it and just see where everything else kind of falls. But Abby is someone who you can get like next week. And it looks like it may happen with the preview for next week because she's going off back to her.
My prediction for next week, Bayon wins again. And either not Kelly, Abby or Jeff Varner goes home.
Gotta be one of my people. Why? I think PG could go.
Spencer, you gotta keep Spencer. Spencer's good at challenges. You gotta keep. I think Wigglesworth will be around for a little bit longer. Wentworth has an idol. PG, I don't think she's in the numbers right now, so I mean she's gonna stay for a while. Shireen's in the numbers. Spencer's in the numbers.
What do you like? Okay, so what if on the flip side, surprisingly, Bayon loses? Who do you see is in trouble in that tribe? You think Steven?
I hope it's Kimmy or Cass because those two are ones that I feel like would, if they vote unanimously, if like 9 of them vote for Cass or Kimmy, nobody would be mad,
Yeah.
I mean, they would be like, okay, we just got rid of one of the weakest girls. Honestly, Bayon loses. I say I hope it'd be Kimmy, but I think let's Steven finds the new mini idol, he's done. And I'm going to be down 2 players after 2 weeks. It happened in Big Brother too. Like after 3 weeks, I lost 2 players.
And you ended up with like 2 people in like the final 5.
Yeah.
So it evened out for you.
Yeah. How are you feeling about how are you feeling about your team after week 1 as we wrap up?
I mean, my team can go either way. I feel like there's some strong people, but I thought Vetus was a strong person. So it's like this season is already set for a very unpredictable turn of events. So I think that the only people who I feel like 100% confident that they will make the merge are Jeremy and Savage. Everyone else could. I wouldn't be surprised if they like left next week. Honestly,
you think somebody might blindside Sierra?
I can see that as an option. Like the weaker players, especially after they find out Vetus is gone, they may feel like they could sacrifice now maybe one of the stronger girls. And since Jeremy's aligned with Tasha, that would leave for Sierra out there floating.
Yeah, so Sierra would be the strongest girl after that. I agree with you. Because obviously Cass isn't strong, Kimmy's strong. Monica politically is very good. I mean, she tried.
I keep forgetting.
She only had one confession the whole first episode. She was, which could be a good thing or could be a bad thing. A good thing is, one confession means she's not going home anytime soon.
That's true. They're not setting her up for absolute failure.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I'm excited for the season though. So
yeah, we'll be back.
I'm going to continue this season.
Yeah, we'll be back talking to Are You the One Thursday. I reached out to Tyler Abron to see if he can come on sometime Thursday. I'll get in touch with you with. And then this is kind of last minute to do it on mine. We'll be back on reality radio sometime next weekend or next week to talk episode 2.
Yes.
Oh yeah, wrapping it up real quick. Overall, we're not going to talk much about Big Brother because the season's over. But overall, what do you think of the outcome?
I predicted the outcome from the beginning. You guys thought I was ridiculous. Although I gave myself leeway. I said, Steve or Becky would win. I said that from like the first week, I believe. So Becky got out, but I still stuck with Steve. I was like, okay, Steve's got this. So I'm happy my prediction came true. But Liz was on my fantasy team, and I love the twins and the Oz twins. So I was really upset that they didn't pull it out. But
you made the right choice, though. I mean, Liz, I love her.
Liz is awesome.
But he was terrible at the jury question.
He was horrible.
He was saying the same thing. She's like, "Oh, I came in the house with a big target on my back. I was trying not to make myself and my sister much of a threat." It's like, what are you talking about, girl?
She just didn't. You could tell she wasn't prepared. You could tell when Steve evicted Vanessa. Those are real tears. That was a real reaction from her. You could tell.
She's like, I didn't prepare. She said before Julie talked to Vanessa, I didn't have anything prepared.
That was so funny. I loved it. Steve probably did that on purpose too. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be great."
Yeah, and then Steve won 6-3, and Johnny Mac was robbed, America's favorite player.
No, he was not.
Yes, he was.
How?
It should have been him over James.
Honestly, neither of them should have been it because all James did was pull pranks on people. Cool, funny, but I want to see some gameplay. And all Johnny Matt did was yell in the DR. And he had some funny one-liners, but he wasn't much of like a character in the house.
Last season it was done.
Or Davon should have won. Those two were, but they just left too soon.
Jason was final top 3 though.
He was top 3, so he should have. I didn't vote for him. I voted for Julia. So. I kind of threw my vote away with that, but I had to vote for the twin that didn't make it.
Congratulations, Julia.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
Watch. Would have been great. Funny TV. She would have said Julia and looked at Liz. I'm Liz. Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
I'm gonna miss that.
Very great.
Yeah. So overall, it was a great week of
It was a
reality.
great season.
It was a great week of reality. I was very sad.
Yeah, I thought it was very underrated. People, I'm surprised people didn't like it as much as season 16. So, whatever. But whatevs. Hopefully,
yeah,
I'll
we'll
be
be
on
back.
that season.
We'll be back. Hopefully Thursday. I'll get in touch with you about if I hear from Tyler about what time she'd be free on Thursday. Tyler Abram from season 2, and we'll be back sometime either later this week or next week on Reality Radio.
Yes.
Any final thoughts?
The scores, the fantasy scores will definitely be up tonight. I promise you. They will be up tonight.
Can I guess? You can say yes or no, or you can say yes or no. Are you winning?
Chill. I'll put the scores up tonight. Relax. Cool your jets.
I gotta play this. I gotta play this in honor of Rodney from last season.
You gotta play some what? You better relax, bro. Exactly, my boy. You better relax, bro.
That's exactly what you're telling me. You better relax, bro.
All
right. Catch you guys next time. Good talk, Wyatt.
All right. Peace out.